All right. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you this Tuesday morning. And Kim, pardon me. Hopefully, I don't butcher your name. Is it Kuusela? Is it?
Oh, that's probably the first question you should be asking, and
I
everyone
know,
should.
right?
It's Kuusela technically.
Kuusela. Okay.
Yeah, so think like couscous and then just illa, Kuusela.
Kuusela.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I know. I married into it, so
Yeah. What was your maiden name?
it was Brunel.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
know some. I know. Like same as April. You're not related, are you?
we are not that I'm aware of. I had
Okay.
an E at the
Oh,
end of
she
my
married
name,
into
and
it
she
too.
doesn't, right? So, yeah, Brunelle. It's very French. It
Oh,
means
yours. Okay, yours had it. Okay. Well,
yeah.
anyway, we are here with Kim this morning, who has graciously volunteered to submit herself to questioning. And one of the reasons I especially wanted to get Kim on here, because I learned kind of by accident, I guess we were talking one day, and so Kim actually has a full-time job, which is not out of the ordinary in this business to have another job, and somehow she manages that, plus doing real estate, and is a mom, to boot. So how old are your boys? You have two boys, right?
I have one boy, one girl. My boy
Oh,
is
that's
gonna
kid.
be,
Okay.
yep, my son Logan's gonna be 12 in June, and my daughter Lily will be 8 next
Oh,
month,
wow.
almost next month. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they get real busy with activities and
Yes.
stuff.
Yep, that's happening.
So yeah. Well, super. Well, Kim, I'm going to let you take it away. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, what eventually got you into real estate, and I want to hear about this other job that you have, and then we'll, obviously tie everything into the real estate. But
Yeah, sure. Well, I grew up in outside of Augusta in Chelsea. It shares the same zip code, but I grew up there. I graduated from Coney High School. My parents still live in the same house that I grew up in, so that's pretty cool. Actively trying to get them to move down here to Wyndham, where I am now with my husband and my two kids. I went to Babson College, which is down in Wellesley, Massachusetts, and it's an entrepreneurial business school. I did marketing and strategic management are my two majors that I graduated there with a bachelor's of science from.
wow.
I also played rugby down there, which is kind of fun. So if you ever have any questions about that, happy to chat. It's like it's like this whole cult culture, like a healthy cult culture in rugby. We already talked about my two kids, Logan and Lily. Very active in travel lacrosse, travel soccer, dance. We're kind of all over the place all the time. And when we're not at a sports field, we are either at the family lake house on Long Lake in Harrison, or the lake camp, or the Saddleback up in Rangeley. We have a spot up there too. So yeah,
When
we
you
have a
say
lot.
family,
And
is
when
that
do you
like
do
your
real estate?
family? Oh.
Right. And when? I know. What's that, Bill?
So when you say family, like your like your immediate family, or like one of the parents has these?
Yeah, so I married into the lake house on Long Lake. My husband will become a co-owner at some point, but his dad and his aunt and uncle currently own it, and we just get the privilege to use it, which is super nice. And then my dad has a place in Rangeley that was my grandfather's, and then someday will eventually trickle down to us as well. But we again get the privilege to and honor to use it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's great for kids to grow up with the camp life. I didn't, so I didn't discover it till I was like almost 30, and it definitely changed my life. Just go into the lake and chilling out, and
For sure.
so it's good if they get that exposure. Hopefully they'll continue that tradition.
Yeah, that's the game plan for sure. So let's see. I started real estate. My first job, so I worked for Hanford full time. That's my career. I'm the local merchandising specialist. So I run the local program for all 184 stores, throughout the 5 states that Hannaford has business to promote the local vendors and products that are sold in those stores, the strategy behind it, the marketing behind it. And I don't do the marketing. I sort of coordinate and I ask the marketing team, this is what I want to do, and they make it happen. So I basically tell them what to do and then they make it happen. Yeah, so that's what I do full time, but I've been with Hannaford for 16 years. And I got my start in real estate. Well, Megan Scott, actually. So for anyone who knows Corey and Megan Scott back in the day, I went to high school with Megan. We played field hockey together. So I've known her forever. And she sold me this house that she was my realtor in this house before I got in. It was about 2012. And we were going through that process to buy. And she looked at me and she goes, you need to get into real estate. She's like, you would be so good. And I was like, yeah, okay, maybe, I don't know. And I was working with Hannaford at the time. I was working in the stores. So I was a store manager at the time. And it was like weekends, nights, you never knew your schedule. It always changed. And I couldn't imagine being in the retail environment forever. And so I thought, maybe real estate's my out, right? Like my way out of that retail life. And then a lot of stuff happened. It took me 4 years to get in and commit to it. So I started in 2016. Yeah, a lot of things. We lost my mother-in-law suddenly. My dad got really sick for a time frame. We had my second daughter. So just like we had our second child, my daughter. And so like just a lot of things happened. So it took me 4 years to take her advice and get into it. And I started with Timurin, the main real estate network under Lonnie in the South Portland office. And go figure, by the time I got into it, Megan actually was out of, like, she was no longer a real estate. She worked with Corey in the mortgage side, lender side. So that was fine. But so that's sort of the background there.
Yeah, that's I guess it's no wonder that you're good at the social media aspect when you go to college for that. So I think a lot of us struggle with that a little bit, or not as consistent, but it's probably my something
you opened the door by himself.
Yeah, we had some sleeping visitors in the back. So anyway, so your job with Hannaford, that's like a fully remote position, or do you have an office? Or
so I do have an office in Scarborough at the home office, but gotcha. With the pandemic, they basically said work from home. And then my boss is very lenient and has totally understood that we're getting just as much work done, if not more, than we were even before. And he realized how much he liked working from home. So, now we're still.
That's awesome that they're not trying to pull you back in. So
no, not yet. And I'm sure there'll be some.
And it's flexible enough that you can you show a house anytime you want? Do you have to kind of work around that schedule, or?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I do. Sometimes it'll get there's meetings that I can't move because I don't control it or the project. And those moments can get really kind of like iffy, right? But I have an incredibly supportive significant other. My husband, John, is kind of like, he'll move his schedule around when he can to make things work.
Now, does he work with you or for you?
So interesting. We met at Hannaford. I was his boss, which is like a big no-no in the Hannaford. But I kept everyone in the loop. Everyone knew. My boss knew at the time. Fine. And so he still works out of the Scarborough home office, but he works for a different brand under the. So I work for Hannaford, but we're part of Ahold Delis, and there's other brands under that. So it's like a big umbrella company thing. Gotcha. So our cubes are next to each other in the office, which was not planned.
Gotcha.
And would prefer not to. So yes, technically he does work with me there. But yeah, it's really, there's been a couple times where like I've had to shift a showing or ask a buyer or a seller to like, shift things around a little bit, but typically it doesn't get in the way, mainly because I can do my job for Hannaford at home if I have to, at night if I have to. And I made a conscious decision about 4 years ago. I was in a slightly higher leadership position than I am now at at Hannaford, and I didn't like the balance, not only for real estate, but also as a parent and a wife. Like I just wasn't balanced. And so the position I'm in now opened up, and I made the conscious decision to kind of step downwards a little bit, so that I could balance more things better. And so far, so good.
Sure. Well, that's awesome. So if any of you haven't seen, and just to kind of relate a little bit how we do it. So obviously we try to keep a certain image for the company, not too hoity-toity, not too formal, but whatever you guys post, obviously on your personal Facebook pages or your business Facebook pages or Instagram or whatever, that's all good. But we do try, and if you want to work with your office manager, if you don't see this happening enough, or if you have any questions about it, but I try to let I try to follow all the agents on their social media, kind of keep an eye on what they're up to, and that sort of thing. Make sure to like a lot of their posts and stuff, and then if a post looks decent, because it's pretty much going to stay up there forever, then I'll share my agent stuff to our office page. I'll share it to the company Facebook page, for example, and I kind of leave each office manager to do that. And so hopefully they're doing that on a rotating basis and that sort of thing. But I know Kim, if you haven't looked at her stuff, it's really good. I could have asked her this anytime, but I saved it for today. Where do you get your material? Are you creating it yourself? Is it part of a service that you subscribe to? Tell us a little bit about
It's
that.
a combination. And I
Okay.
also get inspired by other great social media, real estate agents that have a great page. So I subscribe monthly to it's called Blink Marketing Agency. And they have pre-written posts with completely designed pictures to add for Instagram, Facebook, stories, reels, video scripts, monthly newsletter. And so it's all written for you. And you can send it as is, or you can edit it in Canva, which is another program that I pay annually to have the pro subscription, but you don't have to. You could do the free version if you wanted. You just have more options in the pro, better pictures and stuff. But you can edit it in Canva with their template to add your brand, your logo, your picture, whatever you really want. And so I use that, and they even have a calendar that suggests how often you should do it. And it comes out at the beginning, the very end of the month. And so you could technically, and this is how I actually am able to do this, because to your point, Connie, when the heck do you do real estate, Kim? And I somehow get 8 hours of sleep a night. I don't know how, but because I'm a bear if I don't sleep. I'm a mean person if I don't sleep. You get that content at the very end of the previous month, and so I go in and I preload weeks at a time that you can schedule on Instagram and Facebook to post at a certain time on a certain day. So you can have a whole month planned out. If you spent a Sunday or whatever day works for you, obviously, and just get it out there. The thing, and sometimes, especially if I'm having a great hair day, I might record 3 or 4 videos in one day and just change my outfit. So I have videos ready to go, and I just launch them that morning.
I do that too. I thought I was the only one,
Totally.
Guys don't have to worry about that. That's not fair, but
right. So that's really it. I mean, that's the trick to the social media. And then it's just sort of watching what other people are doing. I do have a little videos are key. You've got to get more videos, and that's what's hitting. And I know that mainly because that's what everything says when you kind of Google how do you nail
build a
social media.
following or, yeah.
Yeah, but then I also, because of my Hannaford gig, I'm very connected to the social media marketer that does my Hannaford stuff for me. And so her and I will just kind of connect randomly about that, and I'll ask random questions and I use her advice. So part of
Yeah,
it
they've
is
probably got some
like,
serious analytics, I imagine,
yeah,
being the dominant
be
player
nice.
in the grocery market. So, well, that explains the consistency. So this is on, and one more time, what was the name of that, the first company that you,
Yeah, it's called Blink Marketing Agency, and it's literally
.com,
designed
you could
for
just,
realtors. Yeah, if you just
okay.
if you do Blink Marketing Agency, it'll come up. The other one that's good that you could look at is Curated Social. Sometimes they have a free account that you can go into, and sometimes I just like their free stuff, so I'll grab a couple of theirs. But they also have these plans that you could do similar to
Sure.
the one I'm using.
Yeah, and for those of you that do it, you probably already know this. For those of you that aren't, a lot of these platforms, they'll have some free stuff that
Mm-hmm.
you can use that'll, kind of get you hooked. But then if you really want to, do some personalization or have more options, you will end up having to pay something, but it's not really a lot, generally speaking. I mean, it's fairly, Cindy had mentioned, I'm going to forget the name of the company. I don't know if I can find the app on my phone or if she remembers it, but she had asked, a month ago about doing, making like our own memes or whatever. So I just, went on the app store and, found an app where, basically, you could do this for free in seconds. But to really do anything substantial, you had to pay. And so you do remember what the name of that, app was, Cindy? Let me see if I can find it real quick, but I was impressed, just and there was tons of options. Like I didn't even touch the surface of what was out there. But yeah, you could just Google meme apps,
Mm-hmm.
and basically let you pick a picture and put your text on there, and
Yep.
um,
I don't remember the one you mentioned, Bill, but Canva, the
yeah, Canvas
thing I
good,
use, you can use
obviously.
that too. And I use
Sure.
that for like all of my new listings or just listed or under contract or coming soon, like any of those kind of posts that I do. I use that Mematic, good one. Yeah.
Well,
You just
that's
mentioned
awesome.
it.
And so you're the scheduling, you're doing that directly on Facebook or Instagram or through these other programs?
You can pay, like there's higher in the Blink marketing agency or probably curated too, for it to automatically post for you and schedule
To your
it.
page. Okay.
But I don't do that because I like to mix in when I'm going to do my, under contract or just sold. I like to mix that into. And so, and also I don't want to pay that extra money when I can do it myself through Facebook. So Facebook has the Meta Business Suite that you can go in and it links your Instagram account and your Facebook account. And you can do both of them at the same time if you want to.
Okay, to save you some time.
Yep.
And what's the latest research say? All I remember is from 20 years ago, and I think it was probably bad advice at the time, and it shifted. But it was, don't post too much because people will get sick of, seeing. And I mean that kind of rang true for me only because even people that I like, if I follow them, I mean, I seem to, I have a lot of friends, supposedly friends, or people that I follow on Facebook. And if people post too much, even if I like their content, I might unfollow them just because it
Mhm.
takes me so long to, get through my feed. And I like to, kind of get a sampling of what everybody's doing. But I notice you and others, in the company are doing a great job on social media, and you seem to post a lot. And maybe it's just once a day. It seems like a lot. Is that once a day a good
Pretty much.
standard?
It's about 5 times a week, 5 to 6 times a week that I'll have a posting. Sometimes it's a little bit less, sometimes, but it's typically right around five. Um, the suggestion is once a day, no more than two, because then you get to that point, Bill, like you said, like it's too much. But stories are important. So in Instagram and Facebook, you have those stories that kind of like
Sure.
shows the ring around your profile photo, and it's there for 24 hours. that you could post 20 a day because it kind of goes away and
Right. People aren't forced to see it unless they
right.
specifically click on it. Yeah.
That's right. So that one is where you could take advantage of that for sure.
Gotcha. And uh, and anything you're hearing, like again, you're on top of this. Like, I feel like more of us should be on TikTok and doing stuff on there. Is that? I mean, I'm sure Hannaford probably that's not going to be a channel that they're too active on, but real estate seems like it's growing on there. But I don't know if it fits.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting. I think I don't know much about TikTok myself. I've tried.
Okay.
I've done a couple of real estate stuff on there, like a month ago, and it was I don't know. I don't quite get it yet. I'm still working that
Okay.
one out. But I think for me, Instagram is still the one where I get the most engagement and interaction from new followers and from new
Oh,
people. From
interesting.
like my sphere of influence, it's still Facebook. So that's really, and I think part of that is because it's friends and family that started following me on Facebook before I started the Instagram as well. So I get the newest followers from Instagram, and my consistent followers are Facebook, if that makes
Yep.
sense.
Yep. Oh,
So,
that's interesting.
yeah.
So tell us about how you felt, for anyone that doesn't know, but so you did almost a couple $1 million in sales last year. Where did you find was that mostly from your sphere? Was it, I didn't take a look. Was it pretty evenly split between buyers and sellers?
I had 67% of my 2021 volume was from returning clients, so
Okay,
previous clients.
the best kind.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I will say my brother and sister-in-law are probably like my number one supporters, and he had a lot of real estate, and I've sold a lot of his real estate.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong
um,
with that.
and they send me people, and so it was pretty evenly split between buyer and sellers. Um, in that aspect, more listing than buyers last year, just because, and it's shaping that way this year as well so far. But yeah, I would say I remember the first listing that I had for my brother and sister-in-law, and my sister-in-law was like, yeah, she was like, no, I'm not paying you X percentage for a commission. She's like, I don't understand what realtors do or what they're good for. She'd had bad experiences.
Yeah.
And they'll remain nameless of who those folks were. Not that I don't think any of us have worked with them because they're in a completely different part of our state. But, and so afterwards she was like, we didn't pay you enough, and any future we'll be paying you more. She's like, you earned it. And she got like a
Wow.
total, like we flipped her script, and now she won't do any real estate without me, which is great. I believe that all of you would probably do the same service and would have also flipped her script, but I'm really proud to keep them, because that was a lot of business comes from them. And a lot of this year's business will come from them again.
Wow. Yeah. Sometimes family can be the worst, but
Yeah,
if
I know.
if they
I
treat
know.
you right, then that's good.
Well, and they refer me, and I think they're really the reason that I got kind of broke into the Rangeley market up there, and I've had three transactions up there now, and looking to have a fourth, potentially a fifth this year as well. So that's kind of cool,
So do you
exciting.
just go up there and stay the night when you're up there? I mean, you're
Yeah,
not going to go up and back in the same day. I don't imagine. I don't know.
probably not, but usually so far it's been working out that we're already up there when it's happening. So,
Oh, that's good. That's good.
but I would if we had to, and just make it work.
So you touched on it a little bit. You think this year your business will run relatively the same? Do you see anything changing or anything particular that you're going to do different, or uh,
Well,
feel like?
I definitely need to stay more consistent with the prospecting. And I did towards the back half of last year, I got a little off my social media schedule, and I slowed down. Part of that was because I had like all my business come at once, and that was really overwhelming. It was like, oh my gosh, I have like 4 clients plus this job, plus it was a lot. And so I got through that, and I think my like body just needed a moment to kind of like resettle. And so I stopped prospecting as much, I stopped that consistency, and my business stopped. So don't do it, people. Don't stop.
Yep,
Don't do that. So I think, staying more consistent, staying consistent with that, is big one for me. And then the other thing that I am focusing on this year is playing up that Rangeley market even more. I think that I have an opportunity to really show specifically Southern Maine buyers who want to buy up there the service that they're used to,
right,
with agents like ourselves who are maybe really on trend with communication and the tech and the ability to be very efficient and offer that level of service while knowing the area. And so I think I need to play off that a bit more
right.
this year.
Yeah, I don't, hopefully it's not discriminating, but I definitely feel like, there's a lot of competition in Southern Maine. So I think we're kind of used to having to elevate our game a little bit. And the
Mhm.
further up north you go, I don't know, I don't want to call those agents spoiled, or, I think it's a different level of service sometimes, and people move at a little bit different speed. And historically, the real estate has moved at a different speed too, like things would be on the market for a really long time. But I have to tell the story every time I talk about Northern Maine real estate, like, things up there, and again, maybe it's changing with the market, that we're experiencing now, but things would seem to stay on the market forever. But invariably, whenever, I got to work up there a little bit because I had some friends up there, and whenever you would call, it would seem like all of a sudden there was interest in this property that, that had been sitting forever.
Imagine that.
And yeah, and the story, the famous saying I always got was, well, you call them and say, oh, is it still available? And they say, well, I have an offer sitting right here on my desk. And the joke was, well, yeah, they have an offer on their desk, but it wasn't on this property. They were just making a blanket statement, like, I've got an offer sitting on my desk, which, hopefully all of us could say, at any time. But definitely might be some opportunities up there with things being so slow, or so little inventory in Southern Maine. Hopefully people will travel, a little further, to find what they're looking for. So, um, well, wow, we've covered a lot. I don't know. Is there anything more you'd like to share with us? Do you do any? Oh, I know one question I had. We know you've got the social media aspect down. Is there anything you do offline to supplement that, or do you pretty much just focus on the online?
That's my main focus because it's been the strongest. But I do a monthly newsletter that I send to all of my clients that have, that past and present. And that has really helped, and prospects. So that actually just brought a potential prospect listing back after like 6 months. Like, I've been sending this consistently every month to this person, to keep them sort of like on the radar, keep me on their
Sure.
radar, really. And I sent it like a week or two ago. And this person wrote back and said, oh my gosh, I've been meaning to get in touch with you again. Great. So
Yep.
definitely that outreach is the biggest. And that's maybe something that I need. And I send calendars at Christmas time for the previous year, I just had one, just little tiny like magnet ones with my business card. And so I send those to past, present prospects. My brother's business, he's an accountant in Wyndham. He's a CPA in Wyndham. So I send him a
Oh,
bunch to put in his thing. And he also owns the one in Rangeley. So I put a bunch there. And so I just sort of like spread things around.
wow, that's awesome. No, that highlights an important point, that prospects can go from 0 to 60, very quickly. And if we haven't kept in touch, then they might drift off to somebody else. But and we shouldn't be offended, especially especially like true prospects that you don't really know. Like, I know a lot of agents, including myself, I was always nervous about bugging people. And this is back when we would make a lot of phone calls and that sort of thing. But, until they tell you to stop contacting them, or like, we've bought something, or we're not going to buy something, whatever, like, people do get busy, between, school, kids, activities, it seems like people just have so much coming at them that, they're not really ignoring us, but we probably don't rate extremely high. Like, when they need us, they'll reach out. But I think keeping in touch, keeping that real consistent, reaching out will eventually, trigger you have to sort of hit them at the right time, which means you have to be hitting them consistently, I think. So that's good that you do that. Well, thanks everyone for joining us today. Thanks, Kim, for putting yourself out there. Does anyone have any questions before we wrap up? Or all right. Well,
I'm sorry, Kim. Again, the names of the apps or the programs. Was it Blink or Link?
Blink with a B.
With a B. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned another one for editing or for.
Yep, it's called Canva, like Canvas, but without the S.
Canva.com. Yep.
Canva. Okay.
And I'd be happy to like connect with any of you if you wanted to like learn a little bit about how to pre-schedule. If you wanted me to do a class on that at some point, Bill, I'd be happy to do that.
Wow.
Carrie Turnbull's the one who taught me how to do it, by the way.
Yes,
and
Carrie
is the one who
Canva.
like turned me on to these things, and then it was like game changer. And that's so she's not on today, but for recording purposes, thanks, Carrie.
Well,
I'd be happy to sit with any of you and show you like some of the tricks I've learned on Canva, how to pre-schedule on Facebook. I'm not an expert for sure, but I'm happy to show you what I know, and hopefully it helps.
Well, I'm going to take you up
That'd be
on
awesome.
that. I would hate bugging you because you seem so busy, but since you offered, I'm gonna take you up on that sometime over the next month to maybe do that for us. So I think
I'm
people
busy,
would love
but
that.
what like my leadership purpose in life, and this is so Hannaford helps us because I get all these like personal and professional development classes that they put us through. Literally my purpose is to help people, which is part of why real estate makes sense for me. So it's like I get excited when I know that I've helped somebody, including my peers and coworkers. Like that just makes my whole day. I feel like I made a difference, and so I love it, and I make time for it because I get jazzed for it. So
I'm getting like goosebumps. That's awesome to hear.
But that's like who I am.
Awesome to hear that. Yeah. That's wow.
Okay.
That's special. We're happy to have you, and we'll look forward to jumping online with you again in the near future.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime.
Thanks everyone for coming today. Have a good rest of your day.
Bye, Bill.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.